Hey all, so today I'm going to take you through one of my meal preps for meatballs, mashed potato with some brown sauce or gravy, whichever you call it. So basically I'm just going to talk you through each of the steps as well as the ingredients, and on the way kind of give any tips I have, for example for avoiding any extra dishes to do afterwards. But yeah, I hope you'll enjoy and find the video useful. Okay, so first I'm going to start by cutting up my potatoes about this size, and I chose a very soft potato here that's basically made for baking. So that will make sure that the mash is easy to mash at the end. And once the potatoes are boiling, I'm going to start on the meatballs. So I'm going to put in my 10% minced meat in first, and then crack in 2 eggs. And the eggs will make sure that the meatballs will stick together in the end when they go into the oven. And next I'm going to put in my breadcrumbs, and the more breadcrumbs you put in, the softer the meatballs will be, so you can put in more next time if you prefer. After that I'm going to put in my all-purpose seasoning, which is basically a great mix of seasoning because I'm just too lazy to use individual ones. So you can get this all-purpose seasoning from most African shops. And then going to put in some parsley, just for some like herby flavor. And then mixing up with my fingers. So once that's all nicely mixed up, you can start rolling your meatballs. So first going to put in a foil to avoid doing some dishes later, and then rolling about this sized meatballs. And once that's all finished, going to put into the oven at about 220 degrees, and they will bake about 25 to 30 minutes. And at the end, just make sure that they're cooked by cutting one through and checking that it's not red in the middle anymore. So next getting started with the sauce. So first melting the butter in a small pot, then adding the flour in and mixing that up into a paste. Once the paste is nicely mixed, adding in the water and mixing that up together, and then adding in a beef stock cube. I actually ended up adding 2 here, it's only showing 1, but I actually ended up adding another one later on, just for some extra flavor. But just taste yourself once you're mixing it up, and if you want to add another one, or if you just want to leave it as the one. And once you're happy with the sauce, you can take it off. Like if you want to make it thicker, just add some flour later on. If you want to make it thinner, just add some extra water. And now my meatballs are ready as well, so those are out of the oven, and then just gonna add some parsley on top of them just to make them look nice. Doesn't really make a difference. So now my potatoes are boiled as well, so gonna smash them up. And here you always want to make sure that the potatoes, you rather overcook them than undercook them, to make sure that you're not going to end up with lumps, because I hate lumps in my mashed potato, so I just always overcook my potatoes. Then I'm going to add some butter. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I just like to add that for some extra flavor. And then adding in a vegetable stock cube, which is nice. Instead of just putting in salt, it just adds some nicer flavor. And then mixing that up again into the mashed potatoes. And then as the last thing, adding in some milk. I use lactose-free milk, but of course you can use normal milk as well. And this will help give the mashed potatoes a creamy texture, so if you want it creamier, you can just add some more milk. And there we go, we're done with all the parts. So I have added my vegetables onto the plate for my meal of the day, and then just adding in the meatballs for that day, and then the rest go in for the meals for the next 4 days into my glass dish. Then same for the mashed potatoes, and here I actually realized I made a bit too much mashed potatoes, so I had to, at the end of the week, there was some left over, and so I think 2 potatoes would have actually been enough because I used 3 here. And then, yeah, turns out there were some lumps left in the sauce, which happens sometimes. So this is just an easy way to get rid of them. So instead of putting it directly to the container, just put it through a sieve. That will get rid of any of the lumps, so don't worry if that happens to you as well. And then putting some into the dish of the day, and then we're all done. So this is the final results. Super quick and easy, and it also nothing happens to it when it's in the fridge, so it doesn't start tasting weird during the 3rd or 4th day. So super good.